Hey everyone, I hope all of you had an amazing day and welcome back to the Milestone Park or Ozaris. So today we are going to mix the Theonopolis and Ozaru style, and one of the buildings that came out of this is weird and I hated it when I was almost finished with it, but now it's like slightly growing on me. I don't know if that's a good thing, but you guys will see. But also, you guys are amazing. Like, before we get into the video, I just want to say that you guys are amazing. When I basically uploaded the last video, that video was meant for like 500. Well, actually it was first meant for 200 of you scrolls, and now it basically went into like 800 of you scrolls, and this video was actually meant for 800. But right now the scroll family is 1,000 members large, so I don't know how to express how amazing you guys are and how much gratitude I have for, well, everything. But anyway, so I'm still debating like whether to call you the scroll family or the scroll scurry. Well, the scroll scurry came from, I'm just going to go out your name because I'm awful with names and I know how to pronounce one of them, and you know what I'm talking about. But Kane said that multiple scrolls is called a scurry, and the word is weird enough for me that it's amazing to me. So I'm really debating whether to call you guys the scroll family or the scroll scurry. I'm probably going to just mix those around every now and again. Because, well, as I said in the first video of the Milestone Park, it always feels weird to me to call you guys subscribers. So then I went with Amazing Peeps or the Squirrel Family. And now I'm more leaning towards Squirrel Family or Squirrel Scurry. So I'm going to debate what I'm going to call you guys. And well, you can debate along with me if you want, but yeah, I'm leaning more towards those two options. But anyway, I should probably talk about what we're building today, which, well, right now, I wanted to first, with this building, have like the Theonopolis structure with the flat roofs and more of like the blocky structure. Actually, Ozaru also was very blocky, actually, more so maybe even than Theonopolis. But I quickly realized that the most important thing to having the Ozaru building, or like the Eastern Asian building or buildings that I created, were the roofs. Without those roofs, most of the buildings in Ozaru could easily be mistaken for medieval. So you could see that first I attempted to make it without like any sort of like reference to the Ozaru roof, but right now eventually I just built a canopy because I just realized, alright, this doesn't look good. Well, actually it's not a bad building, but it's just not achieving what I wanted to have without those canopies. So in the end I just added a canopy to just give a little bit of like the roof that all the buildings in Ozaru had. Or had like a variety of. Yes, I finally am sort of able to say variety. It still sounds a little bit strange because my brain just doesn't want to say it correctly. I mean, that's also why I usually take like shortcuts with people's names, or like explicitly say sorry if I mispronounce your name, because I'm just horrible with them. Names, terms, like all of those things that have like a specific name. I don't know why. I think it's just my brain doesn't want to work with me. But I think you guys have grown used to that. But yeah, you guys are still awesome. Like, in 2 weeks, like, we've grown from 200 or like 200 at max to now 1,000, and we're actually slightly over 1,000. And yeah, well, I should probably stop gushing about that, but I'm not going to, because it's just like I never really expected this. Like, I knew that Ozaru was different than all of what everyone else was putting out. But I didn't expect to get this. So yeah, you guys are amazing. However, well, this is sort of celebratory, or just like sort of a celebration, but it's a weird celebration because it's also like I got my first, well, I wouldn't consider it a fully like hate comment, but I got my first, like, let's just say negative comment, which actually goes back into what I was just talking about with me while talking. Before you guys try and find the comment, I have deleted it and basically banned him because let's just say he was making fun of like a group of people, which, like, you can make fun of me, you can make fun of the buildings I built, but if you like, if I can even consider it to be like slightly racist or discriminatory, yeah, you're gone. Like, I don't take any prisoners when it comes to that, because I want to keep this channel as positive as I can. I do know that like sometimes I have like trouble being coherent, but I think you guys understand. Or at least I hope you guys understand. Or you squirrels, or I mean, most of you guys are amazing. I think there's like always like one or two that are just like, no, bad, go away. But yeah, so you can't find that comment, but he basically just said that I shouldn't talk, but did it in like the rudest manner possible. But yeah, in a way it was funny because it was like, oh, the first, you know, negative or hate comment, and I was like weirdly happy for that. I think it's just like a milestone, like on its own, to have like the first angry or hateful comment. But yeah, he is gone, and let's just forget about him, because in the end, like, I think most of you guys will know this, but in the end, even hate comments or like negative comments do help out the video, because it counts as interaction. So I don't understand the mindset of people who like go to a video just to basically shit on it, or like just be like angry at the world, because I mean, most people should like, or do realize that that will just help out the video, because it counts as interaction. But again, he is gone, and he's not coming back, let's just say that. And let's move on to something more pleasant. But yeah, I was just weirdly happy for like the first negative comments, let's say that. But again, like, you guys can make all the fun of me you want. I do that myself as many times as I can, because, you know, I don't like to take myself that seriously, because, I mean, this channel is just built, like, I call you guys squirrels, I call myself a squirrel, so it would be weird if I wasn't able to make fun of myself. But yeah, don't bring any like negativity of like the discriminatory or racist kinds to the channel, because yeah, I don't want that here. I want this to be like a safe, happy squirrel scurry. So I should probably move on, because otherwise I'm going to be rambling about this forever, and we do have something that we are building. But we are building some kind of like docking / harbor area, or like pier area, and I wanted to actually do this in Ozaru. I wanted the gharial habitat to actually have more like docks, but of course then the gharials wouldn't get around because those things can't lift their legs. I think the gharials is also like one of the other examples of where my brain was a little bit slower than my mouth, because freshwater alligators, I think, or freshwater, no, not freshwater, that's the correct way to say it. I said sweetwater. Yeah, I do realize, like, right after I said it, it was just like, why did I say this? Because Sweetwater, and yeah, I've, like, this is just another moment of like, oh, my brain is a lot slower sometimes than my mouth. And again, every time my brain is a little bit faster, or not my brain, when my mouth is faster, I just say yeah. Just so that my brain has time to like regroup and actually talk somewhat coherently. But yeah, sweetwater alligators or crocodiles or gharials for the win. I have no clue where this is going. But I think you guys kind of expect that now. But as I said, I wanted to have like the docking area or like harbor area of Ozaru to be a bit larger. I actually wanted like, you have those in like Eastern Asia where you have like almost half of the village built on a lake. Or actually you see this mostly like in, let's say, a fantasy setting. I mean, in the Hobbits, you had this entire town built upon a lake. And I wanted to do that in Ozaru, but, you know, time constraints, it would have taken a little bit longer. And the gharials just couldn't lift their legs because they are, well, actually, I still don't really know if they are like alligators, crocodiles, but yeah, the judge is still out on that because some of you guys or some of you squirrels said, oh, they are, you know, this, but then others said, oh no, they are the complete species on their own, so I have no clue. Yeah, so let's just keep the at gharials and let's move on. I'm still surprised by Sweetwater. It's just like, oh, you need to say something, and this is the word that's closest to what it actually is, but in a way it's also the farthest off. Yeah. But as I said, there is one building that is just weird, and I slightly hate it, but also slightly love it. And that's the building we're building right now. Because the roof is way too big for the structure that is beneath it. So it feels really out of proportion. Because, well, the roof just is gigantic compared to the structure underneath it, and it completely dwarfs the structure beneath it. Like with most buildings in Ozaru, the roof was bigger, but not so that it would be like not aesthetically pleasing. With this building, however, it was. This was just the time that I went overboard with the roof and just thought like, I want to keep the roof, and you can see me like trying to like make the building underneath it a little bit bigger, but eventually I just thought like, alright, this building is going to look strange and weird. Let's just go into that fully and build like some extensions to the building. And in the end, it still looks weird, it still looks very strange, but as I said, it's slightly growing on me. And that's why you guys see it, because, well, I just thought it would be like, not every building that I built is completely perfect. Well, I would say that of most of my buildings, but from what I've seen so far, you guys wouldn't really agree with that. I mean, I'm really still really surprised by how well Ozaru did. Because this is also one thing that one of you guys asked, is that did I have like a plan for when I started Ozaru? Kind of, but mostly not. Like I have like the idea of like, I want a village, I want a central habitat and habitats around that. But after that, it was just like, alright, this is the idea I have right now, let's build on it and let's see what it does. And eventually it turned out into Ozaru. So yeah, there's not much planning that goes into it. Like, I'm saying like that I have a big plan for the mystery zoo, which is literally just like I have an idea for like a central building or like a central place. But beyond that, it's just like maybe this, maybe that. We will see when we get to it in 1 month's time, or 25 or 26 days. One of those two. But yeah, none of you guys have actually guessed it correctly as of right now. I mean, you guys are still amazing, Like, you're still some amazing squirrels, but so far from what I still remember, it's, first of all, well, it's not going to be like anywhere close to Ozaru, but also not close to Theonopolis. And it's, well, there's going to be floating rocks, so it goes against most of the things I said in Theonopolis, where in Theonopolis I wanted to have it like a little bit grounded in reality. What I've planned for the Mystery Zoo is not. It's going to be completely strange, but beyond that I haven't really thought much about it. It's just like I have this idea of, or like a little bit of like a plan of like, I want to have this, this and this in the zoo, and we will fill in the blanks when we get to it. But yeah, you will see that with this building, because I need to talk again about the building, otherwise, yeah. Again, don't make this into a drinking game where every time I say yeah, you like take a shot, because I am not responsible for your hospital bills or just any kind of hospital emergency. But it's strange because it has the completely wooden extension on one side and then this balcony on the other. So I might actually looking at it right now because, well, I think I've said this already a lot of times, but when I record this commentary I have the video also playing, so I see what step we're at. But I might actually remove it or like change it still, because it's just pretty strange. But in a way it does fit in with like the harbor thing. So it fits in with just always like, harbors are usually, when you think about like fantasy settings or like ancient or just older settings, you always want them to be like messy. Like, for some reason, like harbors and let's say marketplaces, like they are generally messy areas. But now we are building what I said we wouldn't build. Yeah, it's a pagoda because, well, it's not on the location that I wanted my first pagoda in the, well, in the Milestone Park. But it is in the Milestone Park. The first location was what I planned to, was at the temple. But I already said like, yeah, it would be completely overshadowed by the temple there. Unless I made it huge. But then the rest of the village would look tiny. Like, I call it the Milestone Park, it's more like the Milestone Village. I have actually like a fun little thing. I have set like the maximum guests to 1,000. Just because, well, there are 1,000 squirrels right now, so it felt kind of appropriate. But at the moment of recording this, there are a little bit over 1,000 squirrels. So some of you are not allowed in the park as of, well, I'm going to change that in the next recording, but yeah, it's just a fun little thing that I thought like, you guys will probably not see this, but it's maybe fun to talk about. But it's a little bit more, well, detailed actually than the pagoda in Ozaru itself. And I actually like this pagoda a bit more because A, it also has a function. Like the pagoda in Ozaru was just there. I did want to place it in an actual habitat, but eventually it just was a, let's say, centerpiece. It was just like a nice view and nothing beyond that. People could still walk through it though. But this one actually has a function because it houses the carousel, because for some reason every park, every theme park needs a carousel. Even though lately when I visit theme parks, I almost never see anyone riding it. But they're just everywhere. Yeah, they are, I mean, they were never really like the thing I like. Even as a small child, I never really liked carousels because it was just boring to me. Says the guy who was scared of any kind of coaster until he was like 13. Yeah, that's a true thing. Mostly I talked myself into like, oh, I'm scared of going like in the loop-de-loops. Like I didn't want to go upside down. But I was even scared of coasters that didn't go upside down, so that was just like an excuse. Which was a little bit weird if I said that when there was a coaster that didn't go upside down. But for some reason, nobody questioned it. Probably because no one wanted to bother trying to push me into a coaster. However, nowadays, I'm not scared of coasters. Well, in a way, maybe I still am, but that's mostly because in most coasters, I have the fear of like my glasses just floofing off. Yeah, I had one experience where I had to constantly hold my glasses because they were just falling off my face. So yeah, the squirrel has glasses. So a little bit of like a fun tidbit. Well, not fun, it's just like a little bit of information on me. Because you guys don't see my face. And I don't plan actually on doing that anytime soon, actually. Yeah. Anyway, so for the pagoda, because we have a lot of weirdness in today's video, because yeah, I'm just really buzzed by just how amazing you guys are. I haven't made the "you guys are amazing" quote of or quota of today, so I'm going to try and get that now. But yeah, whenever I get buzzed, there's just like no stopping me anymore. It's just like I'm a lost cause by that point. But I still really like this pagoda a lot more than the original pagoda actually. Mostly because I actually know what pieces to use. Like the pagoda, it's a staple of Ozaru, or like just Eastern Asian architecture, I would say. But the one in Ozaru was really just like me attempting to build something and it looking, to me, okay. Most of you guys seem to love it. Like, maybe that's because I'm maybe a little bit too critical of my own buildings. But in a way that also helps, because then I try to keep improving on my buildings. But I do think that there's like a limit to where I can go with that, because eventually I will just stop building because then I'm just too critical of myself. So in a way you guys keep me also sane, I would say. Yeah. I think you guys also slightly expected that, but it is true. But this could... So I wanted to say this pagoda, but this pagoda is going to be 3 stories, or like... Well, there's ground floor and then 2 stories above that, but I usually call it 3 stories because I never count the ground floor as like not being a story. I don't know why, but I just do. But it's going to be 1 story above this one to make it clear, and it's not imposing into like the temple. Like it's not large enough to actually, let's say, obstruct the view to the temple. Actually, it frames the temple, because it's like, if you go from the bridge and look at the temple, this pagoda is like at like the edge of like your view. So it like frames the building very nicely. That's usually what I do with like plants and such. If I have like a sideline that I want to emphasize, you know, you have the building in the middle. Then you usually have like a little bit of like lower foliage. And then at the edges of your view, you want to have like taller things to just frame it. Like you want to have tall trees, or in this case a tall pagoda. Although the roof, like I always will probably hate building these roofs. Well, not hate, but it's just a little bit more work, and sometimes my lazy side comes out when I'm building. But it's... yeah, I do realize that I might have taken a little bit of a shortcut here with the roofs and height. Well, some things. Though you might think like, oh, on the first story or like the ground floor roof, you didn't actually make the beams look right. But I actually like that they're like kind of interwoven, and yeah, it's messy, but I actually want this place to be a little bit messy. Like from the first start, just because we are mixing styles, I immediately thought, alright, this can be a little bit of a messier place, because when you're mixing styles, it just feels messy by itself already, so, you know, tap into it, I would say. And we are going to have like 3, well, there's one kiddie attraction, which is this carousel, because I'm not going to build any more kiddie attractions. Well, actually I'm going back into that later, but we have right now the carousel and the top spin. I think that's the name of that attraction that you see in the background. And I'm planning to add 1 coaster, and I'm letting you guys decide because I can't decide. And I mean, you guys are amazing, so you'll probably come up with something amazing, or like give me like a little bit of like, how do I say this correctly, but yeah, I just want to have you guys make the decision for me because I can't decide. But I thought about either a kiddie coaster or a little bit of like a more adult coaster, or thrill coaster, I would say. That like for the kiddie coaster it would be in a very contained area. With the more like intense coaster, I actually thought of going around the entire island. And the island is actually going to be a little bit smaller because I thought I would have the buildings more spaced out, but they are actually quite close together, so I'm probably going to basically sink everything that's behind the Acropolis and then add maybe some rock walls to just give more homage to Ozaru. But yeah, you guys may decide, kiddie coaster or a more intense coaster that actually goes around the entire island. But I am going to keep it contained to 1 more episode, unless my squirrel brains force me to actually just build more, because whenever I try to make something small, it never turns out right. Because I have a squirrel brain and it just never works out right. But in the end, the pagoda is... I kinda love it. Like, this is one of the buildings where I can honestly say, like, I really love this building. It's open, it has a function, and all of it is completely custom built. Well, that wouldn't make me love the building, because custom buildings take a little bit longer, and well, I'm a squirrel, so I don't usually have like the full attention span that a normal person would have, because I'm a squirrel. So that just, you know, whenever I think of like a squirrel, I never really think like, oh, those are like animals with long attention spans. Just like me, I can get pretty bored of something pretty quick. And that's, in a way, you guys also help with that. Well, not with making me bored of something, but actually making me able to push through sometimes. Like, I never expected Theonopolis to reach... Well, the playlist right now is like 70 videos. I can say that there are like 3 of those aren't episodes. So, yeah, it still amazes me that Theonopolis has been going on for over half a year right now. We started in January and right now we are almost to November. However, this is also a little bit of an update on Theonopolis because you guys haven't seen that in almost 2 weeks. I am going back to it. I have a little bit more time, so I can probably maybe get like 3 episodes or maybe even 4 a week. Starting, I think, next Wednesday, because this weekend and the early start of the next week are a little bit busy, so there will probably not be any videos then, but I do hope you guys understand because I have college and such stuff that's kind of imposing on the amount of videos that I make. But again, you guys are amazing, so I hope, well, I'm almost sure that you guys will understand that, because college, I mean, I think most of you guys maybe I've already went through that, and it's harrowing, but I will work through it. But so the next video will probably be next Wednesday, so there will be like a little bit of quietness on the channel for this weekend. But after that I plan to go back to Theonopolis and actually work a little bit more on it, because I want to have it done around the time that Planet Zoo comes out. So we have 1 month and maybe like a few weeks beyond that, in which I want to finish Theonopolis. So yeah, expect a lot of Theonopolis videos coming up. Well, starting from next Wednesday, I would say. Though maybe a bit earlier, but that's just like how much time will I have next week. After next week I will have a lot more time, so then more frequent videos. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Today was a very weird video just because I was so buzzed by how amazing you guys are. The squirrel family has grown to a little bit over 1,000 squirrels and you guys are amazing. Don't let anyone else ever tell you that you aren't, because I will fight them. Yeah, you guys are just amazing, wonderful people, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, don't forget to hit the like button, and hopefully I will see you back in the next video. Have an amazing weekend, you guys. Bye bye.